are going to work on my February 2020 bullet journal setup. So grab your pens, your coffee, your tea, or even your hot cocoa, and let's create together, shall we? So first off, let's start with the theme of the month. I'm really feeling the flowers again, and you know it's February, it's the month of love, so I thought that I would continue with the flower theme, but I wanted to try something different at the same time. So I kind of restricted myself to only draw flowers in like mason jars or vase or like any types of pots really, or like glasses or anything. So yeah, I had to sketch out a little bit my drawings before, because I really wanted to make sure of how they would look. And looking back forward to my January 2020 setup video, I thought that the video was a little bit too long, so I sketched out my planning and all my collections before recording this video. So that's why you would see some traces of my sketches behind. I actually didn't like bother to erase them because I would need them. So yeah. Again, I wanted to stay in the minimal setup and like not too googly and artistic, if I must say, because I really want to concentrate on the productivity of my spreads. So yeah, and the efficiency as well. So I decided to do a cursive style, not in a brush style, really like a cursive one. And I wanted to play a little bit with the boxes and like drop shadows, but not like black drop shadows. I wanted to do like little lines to make if it was like a shadow or something. But yeah, turned out well. I think that I should have maybe resketched my quote on the left page, because I think that I was too scared of not having enough space, but I ended up like doing the first line of the quote really narrowed, and the other two lines are like not proportional to the first one. And the quote says, "If flowers can teach themselves how to bloom after winter passes, so can you," from an unknown person of this world. I really want to have like some quotes that is talking about flowers, but at the same time about like love. And if there is one thing that I've learned in the last years, is that loving yourself is so much important, and that's why I didn't put like romantic quotes or such. I really want to focus on like love yourself quote and self-esteem quote. And if they have like a flower theme at the same time, well, why not? So that's the reason why I picked up this one. Also, the colors of this month's theme are really similar to the last one, except that I get rid of one tone of green, and I added more rose colors and red colors, so it's pretty much the same thing as January, but with a little more pop, if I can say it like this. And pink, of course, pink. Pink is really important. So for my next spread, as usual, it's my month at glance calendar, and also the place where I wrote down all the things that I need to do for my work, the things I need to do for Twitch, YouTube, my goals and my events. I know that I said in my last January video that I prefer when the calendar only takes one page instead of two, but the reason is that February is going to be a really busy month for me, so I need a little bit more space to to plan my month at glance. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love bullet journal so much, is that I can change things up depending on the month, depending on how busy I am or how I don't have things that month. And yeah, so it's not really decorated, but it's efficient, so that's what we want. For this month's habit tracker, I decided to stay in the same layout that I did in January because it was really efficient. The only thing that I changed was the habits that I wanted to focus on, mostly to separate my work and when I am drawing or making art for myself as like a pleasure instead of working in my commissions. Because I thought that last month I worked a lot in my drawings and my commission, but at the same time I couldn't know if I was drawing like for funsies or drawing for work in my habits. So I decided to separate my drawing habit for two habits, like I said. So there is one that says travail, which means work in French, and the other one is dessin, which means drawing in French. And I think that it's gonna help me to see how much days I put into my work and how I can feel less sleepy and out of energy at the end of the month. So yeah, and I also decided to keep my exercise habit tracker because I started doing some yoga routine in the morning, and oh my gosh, it helped me so much for my back. I used to have a lot of back pain in the last couple of weeks, and I saw an article that says that yoga can help you with your back, and I was like, oh well, I should try it. And I was really satisfied because only 2 days after I could say that my back was feeling so much better. I didn't have a lot of pain as I used to. So yeah, just doing like a 10 minutes, 50 minutes in the morning exercise and a bit helped me a lot, and I want to keep this like habit in my routine, so I keep my exercise tab in my habit tracker. I also did a little quote at the bottom that says, if you have the ability to love yourself. Again, a reference to self-esteem and love yourself quote theme that I wanted to do this month. And for my mood tracker, I wanted to draw a mason jar without the flowers actually, and instead of flowers, it's just like cute little hearts instead. So there's 29 of them, and I'm gonna draw them in a different color depending on my mood. And I didn't want to color it because I think it would look better if I colored only their hearts instead of the mason jars. So I decided to keep this page black and white for this reason. I have my brain dump spreads. When I did my brain dump and gratitude spread last month, I actually didn't have a lot of space. I thought that I did, but actually I think that I could have used more now that I am like doing YouTube stuff and being more active on Twitch, because I got affiliate like in a week after starting my Twitch channel, and because I want to have good content and etc. I really need a big space to write down my ideas, and same thing for my my comic project that I am working on right now. actually did the same thing for my gratitude page. I decided to not write dates on this page because some days there were like only one thing positive that happened, and sometimes I had a really great day and I really want to write a bunch, but I was lacking of space, so I decided to not write down any dates for this one and to have a 2 pages spread instead of just one like last month. The last spread of this video, my first weekly spread. I decided to do something that I really like to do in my bullet journal, and I encourage you to do the same thing because I think that those kinds of spreads are the most efficient one, which is a Dutch door page. So what I did is that I measured the spaces that I use for my first page with my grid spacing cheat sheet, and then I decided to draw down a line to the other page where I wouldn't like wrote anything. I cut it down and then I continue to draw my my weekdays, and on the other columns that is about the same size as the first one at the first page of the weekly spread, I decided to write down tasks and notes. Because I did 8 spaces instead of 7, I decided that my 8 space for the date of the month and like the day of the week, I decided to write down next week because I really like to put in perspective what I need to do for next week, and when I'm doing like my spreads on this Sunday, which by the way I am live every Sunday on Twitch. You can find me by the username of Roszipou, and every Sunday morning we are working on our weekly spread. So if you don't have like the time but you want to work on your weekly spread with me, log in into Twitch, follow my channel, and we will be creating together and take some time in our day to create and plan our week. So yeah, and actually it's pretty useful to have a space to write down what's happening next week. For example, if you have an appointment at some hours but you don't have space in your monthly year, not monthly year, but in your month at glance calendar, well, you can write it down, or just like to remember something that you have to do for whatever reason. I think it's great to have another space to do that. Also, you can see that sometimes I look back to my other spreads and pages, and I do like little stuff with my Sakura Jelly Roll pen. Actually, I think I zoned out a little bit when I was coloring my flowers, and sometimes I realized that I was coloring inside of the vase or the mason jar, and to like work on my mistake, I decided to put some jelly roll pen, so it kind of does like a lightning effect. So I know the color of the flower in the vase, but it's reflected because it's inside the vase. So I look up back on my spreads, and I actually did the same thing for some of the flowers, so it gave more of depth and perspective, and I think it worked out really much, and it's pretty cute as well. So yeah. that's pretty much it for the month of February. I hope you really liked this video, everyone, and that it gave you some ideas for your bullet journal. And if you happen to do the same monthly theme spread as me, please send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or even Twitter. Tweet me your spreads. I will be really happy to see them. And yeah, so like I said in my video, follow me on Twitch if you want to catch up on the weekly spreads live and chat with me live. And if you don't have time, you can always watch the vlog that I put on YouTube on the next day, so every Monday morning, I think. So if you can't catch us live, you can always look back to the YouTube playlist. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment this video. And I will see you next time. Goodbye!